Hello and welcome back. Another day, another reasoning and problem solving opportunity, another logic challenge, and this was definitely a doable one. So, in case you have already solved the problem and did not face any problems, this video you can completely skip. This is more of a foundation video for beginners and almost an introduction to the thinking process. So if you have managed the problem on your own and if you have already tackled bigger problems and more complex problems, please skip the video. For the rest of us, let's dive into the problem and solve the problem, and not only that, learn about what are the basic tools and the processes that we use to work out any such challenge. And it is going to be very easy, and it's simply a game of paying attention. So I've already captured some pieces on the table. Don't worry about them. I will explain them I will explain each of them step by step. So let me go for the story. There are three houses on each side of the road. So I have captured it in this kind of an approximate diagram. There is a road in between. These are the three houses on one side. These are the other three houses on the other side. These six houses are labeled P, Q, R, S, T and U. So I have labeled it so P, Q, R, S, T and U. And they have six different colors: red, blue, green, orange, yellow and white. So I have captured that information here: red, blue, green, orange, yellow and white. And I have created this grid because this will make my thinking part and capturing the information part very easy and make the deductions very obvious for me. So once you have, let's say, done 20 such problems using the grid, later your grid will become very rough and you might not need to create the whole thing in the beginning. But for starters, or for if you're just kicking the process right now, I recommend being very organized about this so that the logic part is very clear to you. So, and you will see how the grid works in a minute or so. And because this is a CAT challenge, there is always this extra level of complexity, because just this basic match would be our let's say foundation level training set. But because this is a CAT challenge, there is always this extra attribute, because these are the houses. The color for each house is the attribute for the house, and overall this can be considered an attribute match challenge, right? But there is extra information about the height. So I've captured that in a separate table of sorts to sort out the height issues. Great, very easy so far. This is where I go into the first real piece of information in terms of filling out my grid. T, the tallest house, is exactly opposite to the red colored house. So pay attention to this rule step by step. 1T is the tallest house. So let me capture that in my height table. T is on top, and it is exactly opposite to the red colored house. So think about it, T is opposite to the red colored house. And now notice this, that if T is in front of the red house, I know for sure that T cannot be the red house. And this is what we mean by basic deductive reasoning. So T cannot be the red house. Let me capture that on the table by a cross. The red house possibility is ruled out for T. And even the most complex challenge that we will face or have faced is made up of these basic level steps. So definitely get a hang of them and master the small steps, right? So I have captured this information reasonably well in terms of my grid, in terms of my mapping. I do not know where T is on my overall map, but I know T is in front of the red house. Great, red or red looking house. Let me move on with the rules. The shortest house is exactly opposite to the green house. So great, let me create a short house for myself. This is my short house and it is exactly opposite the green house. So I can make another conclusion that the short house is not the green house, definitely. And a little shortcut that I can take at this point of time, I've understood that the short house is in front of the greenhouse. I can spot this key word being greenhouse and specifically look for greenhouse information in the rules given rather than reading it in order. So I'm looking for greenhouse, I find it here. Q, the green colored house, is exactly opposite to U. So the green colored house is Q. You do not need this much color in your story, but you do need to capture this on the map. Q is the green colored house. Once I make this conclusion, I can also say that nobody else is now in the greenhouse category. And this is how my table gets filled out. Later, this filled out table will help me make clearer, easier deductions, right? So I've captured this information in my table. I've captured it visually in terms of how the mapping is going to be. In fact, I haven't done all of it. Let me revisit the rule. Shortest house is exactly opposite to the greenhouse. Shortest is exactly opposite to the green. I know the greenhouse is Q, which also tells me now that the Q cannot be the shortest house, which I will use later in a second. So let me resume where I jumped off, and the next rule tells me that U, the orange colored house, is located between P and S. Wow, this is a very clear piece of information. U is the orange colored house. Let me fill out my table, which basically tells me that orange is ruled out for everybody else. By the way, do fill out the table in the other direction as well, because once you figure out that U is the orange house, you know that it is not the red house, it is not the blue house. So this is just being organized. Also do that for Q because you already have data for Q. Revisiting the rule, this orange colored house is located between P and S. So U is the orange colored house, it is located between P and S. That means it has to be the middle house. Whether it is on this side of the road or this side of the road, it doesn't matter. Do not overthink, just capture on one side and move on to the next rule, because if there is a problem with this orientation, again it will get fixed simply by the process itself, right? So U is in the middle of P and S, but as of now I do not know what is the orientation, so I've captured it so that on either side of U there has to be P, either P or S. And going back to the rules again, R, the yellow colored house, is exactly opposite to P. Great. So let me first capture the color of the house. R is the yellow colored house. R is the yellow colored house. Nobody else now can be a yellow colored house, and R cannot be a house of any other color. Now if you notice and think of, now if you notice your table, and let's say if I think about P, these three colors are already ruled out for him. I do not have direct information about him so far, but three colors are already ruled out. Soon we'll see that all colors except one will be ruled out, or I will get a direct piece of information. So R, the yellow colored house, which I've captured in the table, is exactly opposite to P. So this R house will be in front of P. Maybe P is here or maybe P is here. So R will go to one of these slots, and I know the color for R as well. Q, the green colored house, is exactly opposite to U. Great. I can just pick this up and put it in front of U. And because it is in front of you, and I know the shortest house was in front of you, I know U is the shortest house. So let me put U at the bottom of the table. P is the white colored house. Great. Again, a direct piece of information. P is the white colored house. Nobody else now can be a white colored house. P is also ruled out of R and B. P is the white colored house, is taller than R but shorter than S and Q. And the second part told me that it is taller than R but shorter than S and Q. So just put P somewhere in the table. You do not know your exact order, but you know that P is taller than R. So R will be below P. You don't even know exactly below P or not, but P will definitely be above R, but shorter than S and Q. So shorter than S and Q, that means it is definitely below S and Q. And that means P is definitely below S and Q. Again, I do not know the order of S and Q, but do not worry about it right now. But let me not worry about it. Let me see what else I can deduce from the table. And now if I observe my grid again and focus my attention on T, that what could be the possible house color for T, I notice that every other possibility is ruled out. And this is where finally that grid work pays off, that you can figure out what is the house color of T without anybody directly telling you the house color for T. So the house color for T is going to be blue. and that means now blue is ruled out for everybody else, which immediately tells me the house color for S. The house color for S is going to be red. Red for P was already ruled out. So now I have exact colors for everyone. I was also told that T is exactly opposite the red house, and the red house this time is S. So just for consideration, let's say this is S and this is the red house. T is going to be in front of the red house. That means the house called R is in front of P, which I already knew, and this would be my configuration. Again, at this point of time, your brain might be saying that S could be on this side and P could be on this side, but as far as I see the rules, there is no more information given. So maybe the final challenge or the questions don't have to deal with this information at all, and whatever I need to answer can be answered from this part of the story of what is available in the table. Let me think about my height scenarios also. I know T is the tallest, I know U is the shortest, I know P is above R, and R will be above U because U is shorter than anybody else. And P is below S and Q, and both S and Q are definitely below T because T is the tallest. So I do not know what is the order between S and Q, and then, but beyond that, I'm very clear about whatever could have been worked out. So my final picture would be something like this. Now I have everything ready to answer all my questions. So let's see what the questions are. What is the color of the house? So let's see what the questions are. What is the color of the house diagonally opposite to the yellow colored house? This is the yellow colored house. Diagonally opposite to that I have S, which is a red colored house. So my answer should be option D. Question number 2. Which of the following is the second tallest house? Now, I know the tallest house is T, and then between T and P I have both S and Q, but I do not know the order between S and Q. So the second tallest house could be S or could be Q. Therefore, the correct answer should be cannot be determined. Moving on. Last question. Should be easy again. What is the color of the tallest house? I know T is the tallest house, and the color I figured out for T was blue. So my correct answer should be option P. And that's it. We are done with the process. The question was very easy. Just a reminder to use the grid to make your deductive life easy. So this is it for this session. I will see you really soon with the next challenge, next tip, next game, etc.